that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, narrated by Disney, or current Lucasfilm. Whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today, I have for you the finale to Legacy of the Force, Book 9, Invincible, by Troy Denning. What an amazing cover art. Better than all the American cover arts for New Jedi Order. Like, this is insane. I mean, I wish we had still have the Japanese art, but still, this is phenomenal. Like, look at that. It's the conclusion. Jaina fights Darth Kaidos. Does she win? Does she not? You kind of need to read the book to find out. I have some mixed views. The last book I felt was a bit too long. I felt this was too short. I felt this was too quickly paced at the finale. And I don't know exactly how I'd fix it. I don't know, it just felt kind of rushed. But it's a conclusion. You know, everybody's trying to stop Jason, and it's Jaina's the one who actually does it. Do I love this book? Not really. I think this book is fine. It tries really hard and desperately to make you feel by using some quotes from Young Jedi Knights and a lot of stuff that Troy Denning just made up to kind of get you to feel something. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think what hits harder is maybe the little flashback scenes that Troy Denning adds in to when they were still teenagers. And then near the end, it really, kept in. Because at that point, to me, it felt like Darth Kaidos had kind of gone away because his wife and daughter were on the line. And that was more important to him than anything else. Instead of just being a battle between good versus evil, it was a man trying to save his family and desperately trying to get away from his sister who's trying to kill him. So I thought it was a good finale. If you've been reading 8 books in and you've been enjoying yourself, you're going to enjoy this one. If you haven't been enjoying it, this book's not going to change your mind. But do I recommend it if you've been enjoying the series? Yes, absolutely I do. It is a great finale. And as a whole, these 9 books, I've really enjoyed Legacy of the Force. It is weaker, in my opinion, than New Jedi Order, for sure. But it is still my second favorite series. Behind New Jedi Order. After that might be like the X-Wing books. In terms of how many books they have, Not talking about trilogies or anything like that. So I'm trying to think of what else I could tell you non-spoiler-wise, but I guess I don't have anything. But it's very Shakespearean, These twins have known each other since they were born, been best friends, now much fight to the death. There's just so much Shakespearean sort of poetry to that. But overall, I do recommend it. And I give this series a mark of my approval. Even many others online may not. I'm getting into spoilers. If you don't want it, leave. But what I will say before you go, non-spoiler people. There's a fan film on YouTube called Legacy of the Force, which is about the finale, the big fight between Jaina and Jason in this on YouTube that you can find. And it's done really well. It's a really good fan film, and it's well worth your time. So I hope you'll check it out. It may give you an even better experience of this, because you can look back on that as you read this. And I'm going to spoilers now if you don't want it. Time for you to bail. I'll also leave a link in the description to it so you can see it there. I'm going to talk about stuff now, so leave. So, Boba Fett and Jaina. I don't know. There are some criticisms that have been made by unruly people on the internet, the hive and scum of the universe. But sometimes even the scariest folks in the scariest cantinas can give reliable intel from time to time. And it certainly feels a bit juxtaposed to Karen Travis's work. Because Jaina is very hostile toward Boba Fett. But she, while never being their friend, was very clearly becoming more alliance, neutral, even kind with the Mandalorian people. So for her to be so quick as to say, I can't trust you, may not be a contradiction, but it certainly feels off. Kind of The Last Jedi to The Rise of Skywalker, or just two completely different visions clashing, back to back. One thing I forgot is Kaitis, Jason Solo, masters Shatterpoint. There's only a few people in the entire EU who master Shatterpoint. Mace Windu's one of them. Jason Solo's another. And Kate Skywalker's the other I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe Luke learns it in Fate of the Jedi, I don't remember. But it's Luke, so like who really cares? Luke can do everything. But those are the three people I know of major importance that are able to learn Shatterpoint. And it was really cool because he was fighting some Mandalorians and he basically managed to use Shatterpoint to like shatter this guy's helmet and then just kill him. Because it was Beskar armor, so the lightsaber wouldn't go through. But he went, broke it to pieces, and then killed him. Like you can't mess with me. That's so cool. It's so cool. It has also been 3 weeks since Revelations. Also alongside this, we have these little flashbacks to back when they were teenagers, and those do hit. Kaitis has a bit of self-reflection with pain. He realizes that after Book 7, when even Alana rejects him, the pain became too much for him to bear. So instead, he chose to not embrace the pain, but ignore it. And in doing so, he allowed his bitterness and anger to consume him, and he became like many other Siths of old, like Exar Kun, or Ulick, or any of the other Sith you could think of. Well, in this book, he's doing some self-reflecting. He's like, no, the reason I did this was to protect the people I care about. And that requires pain, and constantly remembering the hatred they hold toward you. To keep you humble, to keep you straight. And so, it's kind of going back on, like, Fury and him just killing people because he gets angry. Because again, the dark side corrupts, and he allowed it to. Because he just kept doing everything, to even think about it. But now that he's allowing himself time to reflect, he realizes, not that he's doing the wrong thing, he still thinks the Sith path is the right thing, but that he's been doing it wrong. And he may have a point, because for the rest of the book, he acts considerably different. The first fight between Jaina and Jason, Luke makes it seem as if he's attacking him instead of Jaina solo with 4 solutions, and Jaina manages to lop off an arm of Jason Solo. Also, we have Trista and Tarn, which are Tino Khal's cousins who just randomly get introduced in this book. I know they'll be a role in Fate of the Jedi, but they just kind of exist in this book for some reason. And me and Brennan, Quinlan Voss on YouTube, are trying to write a fan fiction that takes place before New Jedi Order to kind of explain the contradiction, because it is a contradiction, in Jason Solo's character. But also we thought of introducing Tarn and them there, so that way, you know, it wouldn't seem so jarring that they just exist here. They do say they kept themselves a secret because of illegitimate partners and whatnot. And Jaina doesn't seem to know who they are. So if they do meet only Jason and it wouldn't contradict, because Jason never actually sees the cousins and doesn't address them in this series. So Jason can know that they exist. And Tino Kaw obviously does because it's her cousins, and it'd be fine. But that's all for about my fanfiction that I'm writing with Brennan. We're still working on. And then we have the most biggest one. The thing that everybody mentions, the thing that everybody talks about when they're trying to hate on this book. The Tahiri Ben scene. Tahiri is trying to find out where the Jedi are, and she has been captured. Ben has been in the embrace of pain. He has suffered torture on the hands of Jason. She knows that that won't work. So, we get a very uncomfy scene. I'm not defending this scene. I don't think it should have been written in here. I don't think it needed to exist in here. This is Denning putting this in here because. But, for the record, let's be straight here. Jabba the Hutt liked to dress women in scantily clad clothing. Is that kid-friendly? If you say yes, you're a goddamn hypocrite. You're a liar, you're a piece of garbage, and you can't remain consistent if your life depended on it. Do you like Shadows of the Empire? Caesar. Enough said. Had to make a junior novelization version of it to make those parts less severe. And then how the comics almost blatantly gloss over it. Because only Steve Perry harped on it. If you think that those are an issue, and you think this is an issue, fine. You're a consistent fellow, you agree that there's some weird things in some of the Star Wars Expanded Universe novels that you don't like, and think shouldn't be included. Cool, I'm of the same mind. Kumbaya, we can drink and be merry, but if you say it is only an issue here, you're a piece of utter shite. S-H-I-T, you are a piece of filth, and you don't know how to remain consistent. You are a liar, and you just want to hate on this series to hate. But let's address what happens here. So Tahiri tries to seduce Ben. She touches his shoulder, touches his chest, touches his thigh, caressing, trying to gather information, trying to weed it out of Ben. And Ben is not a simp, so he says no. Did Troy Denning have us see a kid get diddled? No. Was the intention of the author for Tahiri to actually want to do this to a child? I doubt it. This was a tactic to get information. Did she want to sleep with Ben? No. It was simply the enticement of it, the want of it from Ben that was the goal here. Because the moment he doesn't reciprocate, she drops the act entirely and she goes back to torture. So let's be straight here. Is it an uncomfy scene? Yes. Should it exist in Star Wars? Arguably no. Is this some sort of scene advocating pedophilia? No. I don't want to hear it. If you say it, you're a piece of garbage, you're disingenuous, and you don't know how to review things fairly. Cool? Awesome. We can move on now. Mandalore is being attacked because of what Boba Fett and Murtagev helps the Jedi, but then they go and do their own thing, and the Moffs are pissed, so they go and attack Mandalore. Also, due to the fight with Jason, he allowed his arm to get cut off because he allowed a Dothmeri blood tracking technique to the blood sprayed on Jaina, and now he can track wherever Jaina is through the blood. Oh, and to destroy all you people that try to use flow walking in the argument for why this series sucks, or why it's a broken power. I've been saying this for 8 books now, but here it is saying it definitively, that flow walking cannot change the past. So flow walking, and this is the whole thing, this is what has been enticing Tahiri to even join the darkness in the first place, was that she could bring Anakin back. That is what Darth Kaitis, Jason Solo, has been promising this woman, has been, I can bring him back. But here he finally admits, I can't. And I hope that gives you enough anger to go to the dark side fully. But it doesn't, because she starts to falter the moment she realizes that she can't save her love. But what does Jason tell her? Yes, you did kiss him. It doesn't matter. It changed nothing. Except your memory of the event. You kissed Jason. You kissed Anakin. You did. But guess what? Guess what? It doesn't matter. Because the events that still happen are the ones you saw in Star by Star. It's just your memory of it has changed. But we cannot actually change the past. We are a pebble that makes a little splash in a huge, vast ocean that cannot be altered. It simply means to view the past. Any changes made in the past will not actually affect the past. And then he mentions stuff like, or she says like, well, you told us to worry about getting hurt in the past. He said, yes, because we're force sensitive. Imagine what your mind would feel like if it felt like it had just been attacked and you returned to the present. It would be very damaging to your mind. So again, flow walking cannot affect the past. You can only view it. Just to make sure that's abundantly clear with everyone who says otherwise. Also, I've heard people online say that Tahiri and Jason are having sexual relations. Literally nowhere in the book does that imply that. You're just pulling that straight, and I apologize for the language here, you're pulling it straight out of your ass. So let's be adults. Let's critique works on their own right and merit, and critique them accurately, and not act like a bunch of 12-year-olds that are being a bunch of school bullies, saying whatever they can to get a rise out of someone. Let's talk fairly and openly about the positives and negatives of a work. Thank you. They get a nanovirus for Fett by using Murtagev in her blood, which means, and they put it on Mandalore. It wouldn't affect anybody else because Mandalorians are all adopted, right? But if Boba Fett or Murtagev go on the planet Mandalore, they will die. So now we have Boba Fett, the Mandalore, who cannot return to Mandalore. But the Moffs get another idea, because since Jason has joined himself with the Imperial Remnant, killed the last moral compass of the Imperial Remnant, which was Gilead Pelion, all we have left are these greedy little Moffs. And the Moffs want to use the same sort of nanovirus against Tina Ka and her child Alana. And they want to use Princess Isildur. And so, Jason, not Darth Kaitis, tries to get Isildur to leave. To escape. Go far away. Don't return. Be safe. I can't tell you, but you are my father-in-law, and I do not wish to kill you. But he's Darth Kaitis now. Isildur doesn't believe him. And Jason really doesn't have time right now for this. And Isildur refuses to listen to reason. So, Jason snaps his neck in order to burn the body so the Moffs cannot use him to hurt his daughter and his wife. Except that they've already extracted his blood, and he didn't realize till after. So, he's going to go warn his wife and daughter, or his lover and daughter, when Jaina Solo arrives. And their epic tragic final duel begins. And what a duel it is. As I said, if you watch the fan film, what an absolute stunning betrayal of this final section. It's tragic and it's sad. Because right now, in this last book, and this is why I just wish it was expanded upon more, Jason wasn't returning to the light, but he also was kind of falling away from the darkness just a bit. Because his love for his family, at least his wife and daughter, was stronger than the dark side. And one candle is enough to hold back the darkness, and love can ignite the stars. Perhaps if he had seen Tinokan and Alana again after saving them from the nanovirus, perhaps he could have returned. But for Jaina, this was it. And she fought him to the death. And Jaina kills Jason Solo. Holds him in her lap for a very long time before finally leaving. Oh, Zek's also missing, by the way. Yeah, he'll just be back in Fate of the Jedi, but Zek's missing, so that's something. And then Luke makes Jagged Fell become the leader of the Imperial Remnant, since Pelion is gone, which will lead into future things to Fate of Jedi. And of course, we know that the Fell Empire exists in the Legacy comics, so that's also very important. And then, unlike Jason, who people gave up trying with, Ben, as so much like his father, redeems Tahiri. Because redemption's all about not really wanting to be evil. Palpatine wanted to be bad. I don't think Darth Kaitis wanted to be bad, but he is bad and he wasn't really apologetic about it. Darth Vader hated himself his entire life. And just needed the excuse to come back to the light. Tahiri Vela, especially after having read all these books, people are like, it's such a departure from her character. Like, she's not the same person. Like, how could they do this to Tahiri? And she, doesn't do anything that bad in, all these books where she's supposed to be bad. She, is on the Galactic Alliance side, which is the legitimate legal government right now. She is on Darth Kaitis' side, but as for what she does, the worst she does is the thing with Ben in this book, and she kills Pelion. That's it. And I get that those are bad things, but compared to Vader, or Palpatine, or Exar Kun, or Yuli Quadroma, or literally any other Darksider in history, none of the things she did was that bad. And she didn't want to kill Ben. She was already showing reluctance. She wants to return to light. Her one temptation for darkness is now gone. And almost immediately she starts slipping back when she realizes, I can't bring him back. And that would happen to you too, if you had somebody you loved and someone promised they could bring him back. You are diluting yourself if you think otherwise. But overall, I have my gripes. This last book was kind of rushed. There's a lot of action in here, and I'm just not much of an action person, so it just immediately turned me off. I still think the story of Jason Solo is fantastic. Do I think it could be elaborated on more to be an even greater tale? Absolutely. But do I think what we have is adequate? Yes. I think it's a very compelling story of a man who saved the galaxy and thought of a new way to think about the Force because of Reread. And no matter what happened, he would be stronger than it because he's a good person. And Jason was a good person. But the dark side corrupts, and it corrupts absolutely. My biggest issue, I think, is what did it all mean? Because I can't believe this was just for nothing. Was, in so doing this, did Darth Krayt hold off on initiating his plans? Did this somehow work in the cosmic grand scheme of things like in Supernatural Encounters, and Abeloth's release was essential to the next stage of the grand design? That's for the next series. What, ultimately, how did this help? Because Jason truly believes that. And I want to believe that too. What did this do for stopping evil in the short term or long term? And I guess that's my biggest mystery that's been left. Because otherwise it all feels so pointless. But also, there is a civil war going on. And sure, Kaidos was killed. But just like in the OT, Palpatine and Vader were killed, but there were several books afterwards where the Imperial Remnant was still around. They don't really address the peace after the Civil War. It's never really talked about. I know Millennium Falcon doesn't really delve into it. Fate of the Jedi doesn't delve into it. There just is peace now. And I think that's a legitimate issue. Because we needed time to actually see this Civil War come to an end, and it kind of isn't. We see Jason die, and it's, oh, happy ending. But this was so much more than just Jason. This is such a morally great conflict. How will this be resolved? And it was not given to me. So for that, I feel like that is a legitimate flaw. But overall, I do feel that this series as a whole has been phenomenal. And it is worth your time. But ultimately, only you can decide. Until next time, where we will read a couple source books and the Paul S. Kemp duology, where we follow Jaden Core from the Jedi Academy video game. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with you. And thanks for sitting with me through 9 books of the Legacy of the Force series. It's been a ride. It's been a journey. Did I love it as much as I did the first time? No. But neither did I love New Jedi Order as much as I did the first time. With analysis mode, we're trying to be professional about it and review it. Things often don't hold up as much as you'd like them to. But you know what I'll say about New Jedi Order or Legacy of the Force? I can be analytical, I can be critical about anything. But at the end of the day, the emotions I felt, what it means to me to have read these 2 series means the world. And I love these stories, despite its flaws. And ultimately, that's what most of Star Wars has always been. The feeling of adventure. The feelings you get watching something in a galaxy far, far away. So check it out. The finale of Legacy of the Force. And join me as we continue our journey, as it almost reaches an end for the second time. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with you.